Do you hear that? That is the sound of the Vietnamese overseas dream. It is not the sound of freedom. It is the sound of the grind. It's the click-clack of cuticle nippers, 12 hours a day, 6 days a week. It's the tap-tap-tap of a mechanical keyboard at 2 a.m., debugging a line of code for an East Coast meeting. Or maybe it's the steady, haunting beep of a heart monitor during a 36-hour hospital shift. For years, we've been told stories of high-paying jobs, roads paved in gold, leading to success. But this video isn't about those jobs. It's about what we pay to get them. For so many of us, the children of the diaspora, success isn't an option. It is an obligation, a repayment, a debt we never formally signed for but feel deep in our bones. We don't measure our parents' love in hugs. We measure it in calluses. Let's begin our story where most family empires begin. Not in a glamorous boardroom, but in a small space, thick with a familiar chemical smell, the smell of acetone and the smell of opportunity. This is path number 1, the job of sacrifice, the nail salon, the restaurant kitchen, the manual labor, the jobs that trade sweat for cash. This is the economy the first generation built. They didn't trade in stocks or mutual funds, they traded in paper, cash for the rent, cash for the groceries, and cash to send back home. For decades, we've romanticized this story. From rags to... But we rarely talk about the real cost of that cash. The cost paid in lungs full of acrylic dust. The cost paid in backs permanently hunched. The cost of fingers so sore they can barely hold chopsticks but never too tired to count the tips. That isn't a high-paying job, it's a survival job. But here is the incredible truth. The nail salon is the greatest venture capital fund in the Vietnamese community. It is a brilliant business model, generating steady cash flow from a niche market we dominate. And that venture fund, it doesn't use its profits to buy yachts. It uses its profits to fund the next wave. It funds path number 2. Path number 2, the job of validation, the doctor, the engineer, the pharmacist. These are the jobs the generation of sacrifice dreamed of for their children. These are the jobs you can frame and hang on the wall, the jobs you can proudly announce to relatives back in Vietnam over a crackling phone line. Because in our culture, you don't just do a job, you become the job. You aren't hung, you are engineer hung. You aren't Lon, you are Dr. Lan. The title becomes part of your name, your identity, your human value. This path looks glorious on the outside. A 6-figure salary, maybe $200,000 a year. It sounds incredible. But then, reality hits. A $200,000 salary in the Bay Area, after being eroded by 40% in taxes and a crushing cost of living, can leave you feeling poorer than making $90,000 in Houston. It's the income-rich, cash-poor paradox. And that's before we mention the invisible price of that white coat. The cultural pressure to succeed often comes with an immense mountain of student debt. Do you know that feeling? The feeling of being 30 years old, a doctor, but carrying $400,000 in debt? The feeling of having made it in everyone's eyes, but financially you are starting far behind the starting line? This is a rat race, but it's a gilded one. The first generation worked to survive. The second generation is working to prove. They are running on a financial treadmill, earning more, but stuck in place, stuck by debt, stuck by expectations, and stuck by the very definition of success they spent their whole lives chasing. And that brings us to today, to path number 3, the job of confusion, or the job of identity. This is the world of tech, the software engineer, the data scientist, the jobs the first generation simply does not understand. This job is complicated. That $200,000 tech salary isn't cash. It's a complex mess of base pay, bonuses, and something called RSUs, restricted stock units. They are essentially paper promises tied to the whims of the stock market. This is the great conflict in the Vietnamese diaspora household today. How do you explain to a mother who has only ever trusted cash and gold that you are rich, but you have no cash? How do you explain to a father who believes buying a house is everything, that you are holding the majority of your wealth in intangible shares of a company? This collision, it's deeper than money. Our parents' generation built their businesses on tangible assets. You can touch it. The salon, the house. Our generation builds careers on intangible assets, a line of code, an algorithm, a network. They seek stability. We seek growth. And the tragedy is, both are right. And then, there is the family tax. It's not a tax you pay to the government. It's the invisible tax you pay to the past, the remittances sent home. American financial advisors say, pay yourself first. Max out your 401k. But they don't understand. That advice, it fails completely in the face of our culture. How can you pay yourself first when your mother needs surgery? How can you max out a 401k when the best investment you've ever known is your own family? It is a burden, but it is also a privilege. It is a conflict that no Excel spreadsheet can resolve. And so, we see them. The Vietnamese engineer, the Vietnamese doctor, earning $200,000 a year, and burned out. They are burned out from the job. They are burned out from trying to balance two worlds. They are burned out from explaining RSUs to their parents. And they are burned out from trying to be a success that never quite feels like enough. So, do high-paying jobs truly exist, or are they just gilded cages? Path 1, the job of sacrifice, bought us opportunity. Path 2, the job of validation, bought us prestige. Path 3, the job of identity, is trying to buy us freedom. All three paths are paved with sweat. All three have their price. I've looked at hundreds of career paths, and I've realized something. Perhaps we've been asking the wrong question. The question isn't, which job pays the most? The question is, which job costs the least? A high-paying job that costs you your health is a bad deal. A high-paying job that costs you time with your children is a bad deal. A high-paying job that costs you your soul, your peace of mind, is a terrible deal. Maybe the truly high-paying job is one that pays you in a different currency. A job that pays you in time. Time to call your mother, not out of obligation, but because you want to. A job that pays you in presence, the ability to sit through a family dinner without checking work emails. A job that pays you in peace. To know that you have done enough, that you are enough. We are the legacy of sacrifice. That will never change. But perhaps the best way to honor our parents' sacrifice is not to repeat it to the point of burnout. It is to actually live. To live the life they traded everything for us to have. A life, not just rich in dollars, but rich in meaning. Today, I want to ask you a question. Which path are you on? The path of sacrifice, validation, or identity? And more importantly, what is your job paying you? Share your story, your path, and your own definition of high-paying in the comments below. We are often too busy working to remember to talk to each other. Let's start that conversation today. And if these stories mean something to you, hit subscribe, because this journey is one we should take together.